My beloved child, before you allow another thought to carry your heart somewhere else, stay here with me for just a little while longer. Do not hurry past this moment as though it were only another voice passing through the noise of your day. Slow your breathing. Let your shoulders rest. Let the weight you have been carrying become quiet for a moment. I know how quickly life asks for your attention. I know how easily your mind is pulled toward unfinished responsibilities, unanswered questions, and worries that seem to arrive before the morning has fully begun. Yet before any of those things ask something from you again, I am asking for only one thing. I am asking you to listen. You may wonder why these words are before your eyes today. You may think it is nothing more than another message appearing among countless others. You may tell yourself that you simply happened to stop here for a few moments. But my beloved child, not every pause is empty, and not every interruption is without purpose. There are moments when heaven gently places a quiet invitation in front of a weary heart, not to interrupt its peace, but to lead it back toward peace. This is one of those moments. I know you have become careful with hope. I know you have learned to protect your heart after disappointments you never expected. There have been seasons when you trusted and were hurt, seasons when you waited and saw nothing change, seasons when you wondered whether anyone truly noticed the silent questions hidden behind your smile. I saw every one of those moments. I was nearer than you realized, even when my presence felt quieter than you wished. My silence was never the absence of my love. My patience was never forgetfulness. Even now, while you are trying to understand why your heart feels gently drawn to remain here, I want you to know that I have always known this moment would come. Before this day unfolded, before the first light reached your window, before your thoughts began racing through everything that demanded your attention, I already knew this quiet meeting would become part of your journey. Nothing about my love for you is careless. Nothing about my guidance is random. I do not scatter moments without purpose. I weave them together with wisdom far deeper than what your eyes can presently see. There are times when you ask me for direction while expecting thunder, yet I answer with a whisper. There are times when you search for dramatic signs while I gently arrange ordinary moments that slowly awaken your heart. My child, never underestimate what I can do through a single quiet pause. A seed begins beneath the surface long before anyone celebrates the harvest. Morning begins while the sky is still dark. A lamp does not remove the entire night at once, yet it faithfully reveals the next step. In the same way, my work within your life often begins before your circumstances announce that anything has changed. That is why I have asked you to stop here. Not because I wish to fill your mind with more information, but because I desire to awaken something deeper within your spirit. There is a place inside you that still recognizes my voice beneath the noise of fear, beneath the weight of disappointment, beneath the pressure to always understand everything before taking another step. I am speaking to that place now. I am not speaking to the version of you that feels it must appear strong before everyone else. I am speaking to the child I have always loved, the one who sometimes grows tired of carrying invisible burdens alone. My beloved child, you have asked questions that no one else has heard. You have wondered whether certain delays meant that I had forgotten your prayers. You have wondered whether closed doors were evidence that you had somehow missed my plan. You have wondered whether the loneliness you have carried was simply something you would have to accept forever. Bring those questions into my presence without fear. I am not offended by your honesty. I welcome it. A heart that speaks truth before me is already beginning to heal. You do not have to force yourself to understand every detail today. You do not have to solve tomorrow before the sun has even finished rising. You only need to become still enough to recognize that I am already here. I have not arrived late. I have not lost sight of you. I have not confused your name with another. I know exactly where you are, exactly what has shaped your heart, exactly what has quietly exhausted your soul, and exactly what I am preparing to reveal in the right time. My child, there is a reason your heart slowed down long enough to remain here. There is a reason these words found you before the day carried you somewhere else. I am not asking you to chase mystery. I am inviting you into trust. There are appointments that begin long before two paths finally cross. There are answers that begin growing long before they become visible. There are moments prepared by my wisdom while you are still wondering whether anything is happening at all. So remain close to me. Let your heart stay open. Do not dismiss this quiet invitation simply because it arrived gently. My gentleness has never made my purpose small. Sometimes the greatest changes begin with nothing more than a willing heart that chooses to stay and listen. And if you remain with me a little longer, I will begin to show you why this moment is not simply another passing message, but the beginning of a deeper understanding that my hand has been guiding your story with greater love, greater wisdom, and greater purpose than you have yet been able to see. My beloved child, as you remain here with a quiet and willing heart, I want you to know that I have never turned my eyes away from you. I have seen the moments that no one else noticed. I have seen the smile you offered while your heart felt weary. I have seen the conversations you finished only to sit alone afterward, wondering why your soul still felt so heavy. I have seen the mornings when you rose before you felt ready because responsibility would not wait for your emotions. I have seen the nights when your body longed for rest while your thoughts continued to wander through questions that seemed to have no answers. Nothing about your hidden struggle has escaped my loving attention. You have carried burdens that others could not measure because they were not visible in your hands. They rested quietly upon your heart. You have tried to remain faithful while disappointment whispered that nothing would ever change. You have tried to encourage others even when you secretly wished someone would notice that you also needed encouragement. You have offered kindness while quietly wondering whether anyone truly understood the cost of continuing to be strong. My child, I understand. I know what it is like to be misunderstood. I know the ache of loving deeply. I know the quiet sorrow that words cannot fully describe. That is why you never need to hide your heart from me. There is no exhaustion you must disguise, no silent tear you must explain before I receive you with compassion. Perhaps what has made you so tired is not one great hardship, but the accumulation of many small ones. One more responsibility, one more disappointment, one more delay, one more difficult conversation, one more prayer that seemed to end in silence, one more day of trying to believe while your emotions struggled to follow. Little by little, these things settled upon your spirit until you began carrying a weight you never intended to bear. You may have wondered why joy seemed harder to find, why hope felt quieter than before, or why your heart became cautious even when good things appeared possible. I do not condemn you for feeling this way. Your emotions do not frighten me. Your questions do not push me away. Bringing your honest heart before me is not a sign of weak faith. It is often the beginning of deeper trust. I know there have been moments when you questioned yourself. You wondered whether you had become too tired to dream again. You wondered whether your heart had become too guarded to receive kindness freely. You wondered whether disappointment had quietly built walls that even you no longer noticed. These thoughts have weighed upon you, yet they do not define who you are. They describe where you have been, not who you are becoming. For now, I am not asking you to force yourself into joy. I am not asking you to pretend that every burden feels light. I am simply inviting you to let yourself be fully known in my presence. You do not have to earn the right to come close. You do not have to arrive with perfect confidence or flawless peace. Come with your weariness. Come with your unanswered questions. Come with the places that still ache. My love is not reserved for the version of you that has everything together. My love meets you exactly where you are. Even now, while you listen, perhaps you recognize burdens you have carried for so long that they almost feel normal. Constant pressure, quiet loneliness, the fear of disappointing others, the habit of placing everyone else's needs before your own soul, the longing to be understood without always having to explain yourself. I have seen every hidden burden, and I have remained near through every season. You have never walked beyond the reach of my compassion. Before we speak about what lies ahead, I want you to rest in this truth. You are seen, you are known. Your silent struggle has never been invisible to me. I have not measured your life only by what you accomplished. I have cherished the courage it took for you to keep trusting, to keep loving, and to keep taking another step even when your strength felt small. Remain with me a little longer, my beloved child. Do not rush away from this place where honesty and grace meet. There is no shame in allowing your heart to be understood before it is strengthened. Sometimes healing begins not when every answer has arrived, but when you finally discover that you have never carried your hidden pain alone. My beloved child, remain here with me a little longer, because before your heart can fully receive hope again, there is something we must gently bring into the light. The deepest wounds are not always the ones caused by what happened to you. Sometimes they are the quiet conclusions you began believing because of what happened. A painful season can slowly become a false story. A disappointment can become an identity. A delay can become a definition. Without realizing it, you may have allowed fear to write words over your life that I never spoke. Perhaps somewhere along the journey you quietly began believing that you had been forgotten, not because anyone said those exact words, but because silence lasted longer than you expected. You prayed, you waited, you hoped, and when nothing seemed to change, another voice whispered, "Perhaps you no longer matter." My beloved child, I know how persuasive that whisper can sound when your heart is tired. I know how easy it is for disappointment to disguise itself as truth. Yet I have never measured my love for you by how quickly circumstances changed around you. My presence has never depended upon visible results. There may have also been moments when you believed you were simply not enough, not kind enough, not strong enough, not faithful enough, not wise enough. You compared your journey with someone else's blessings and quietly assumed they were more worthy than you. You watched others seem to move forward, while your own road appeared unchanged. And little by little self-doubt settled into places where confidence once lived. My child, comparison has a gentle voice at first, but it slowly convinces weary hearts to question their value. It tells you that another person's season is evidence against your own. It persuades you to measure yourself by achievements instead of remembering that your worth has always rested in my love. Perhaps another false belief quietly entered your heart without your permission. You began believing that because people left, everyone eventually would. Because trust had once been broken, it could never become whole again. Because one chapter ended in sorrow, every future chapter would carry the same ending. Fear has a way of taking one painful experience and presenting it as the pattern for every tomorrow. But fear has never been a faithful storyteller. It speaks through uncertainty and calls it certainty. It speaks through old wounds and calls them wisdom. My beloved child, I do not condemn you because these thoughts found you. Every human heart encounters them in one form or another. What matters is not that the whispers came. What matters is whether they are allowed to become the voice that shapes your life. There is another burden you may have carried without noticing. You may have believed that you must earn love by always being useful. That if you worked harder, gave more, smiled more, fixed more, or carried more, then perhaps you would finally feel secure. Slowly, your value became connected to performance instead of grace. Rest began to feel undeserved. Quiet moments felt uncomfortable because you feared you had not done enough. My beloved child, your value has never depended upon how much you accomplish. Before you completed a single task, before anyone praised you, before anyone misunderstood you, you were already precious in the sight of the Father. Even when you stumbled, His love did not retreat. Even when your confidence weakened, His faithfulness remained steady. There may also be a hidden fear beneath all the others, the fear that if you hope again, disappointment will hurt even more, so you protect your heart by expecting less. You lower your expectations, not because hope has disappeared, but because you are afraid to lose it again. I understand why your heart learned that habit. It was trying to protect itself. Yet a guarded heart often grows weary because it must constantly carry the weight of its own defenses. My beloved child, notice what these false beliefs have in common. None of them began with my voice. They grew from pain, uncertainty, comparison, disappointment, and fear. They describe what your heart has experienced, but they do not reveal who you truly are. You are not forgotten because you have endured silence. You are not without value because your journey has required patience. You are not abandoned because some people could not remain. You are not defined by yesterday's disappointments or by today's unanswered questions. As you continue walking with me, we will gently separate the whispers of fear from the enduring truth of God's love revealed in Scripture. You do not need to force that process or rush toward easy answers. Simply allow your heart to become honest enough to recognize which voices have been shaping your thoughts. Recognition is not the end of healing, but it is often where healing begins, because once a false belief is brought into the light, it no longer has to remain hidden in the shadows of your soul. My beloved child, now that you have begun to recognize the quiet whispers that have weighed upon your heart, allow me to show you something that may surprise you. The way you have learned to look at yourself is not the way I look at you. You often measure your life by what still feels unfinished, but I see the work that has already begun within you. You count the prayers that seem unanswered, while I see every moment your faith continued breathing when giving up would have been easier. You notice every weakness that still troubles you, while I see the quiet strength that has been growing beneath the surface through every season you thought was accomplishing nothing. My child, your vision is often shaped by the present moment, but mine embraces the beginning, the journey, and the purpose that is still unfolding. You see delay, I see preparation. You see empty waiting. I see deep roots reaching into soil that will sustain you long after this season has passed. You see closed doors. I see loving protection from paths that would never have brought the peace your heart truly longs for. You see slow progress. I see steady transformation that cannot always be measured by outward success. Do not mistake hidden growth for the absence of growth. A mighty oak does not become strong because of one sunny afternoon. Its strength is formed through seasons that no one applauds. Its roots deepen where no one is watching. In the same way, much of what I have been doing within you has taken place where human eyes cannot see. Your patience has been stretching. Your compassion has been deepening. Your dependence upon me has been growing in ways that even you have not fully recognized. My beloved child, there have been moments when you looked into the mirror of your own thoughts and saw only what remained broken. Yet I have been looking upon you through mercy. I have never denied your wounds, but neither have I mistaken them for your identity. I have never confused your struggle with your worth. I have never measured your value by the days when fear spoke louder than faith. When I look upon you, I do not see someone forgotten. I see someone deeply loved. I do not see someone disqualified. I see someone still being shaped with patient hands. I do not see someone who has failed beyond hope. I see someone whose story is still being written under my faithful care. My child, there is hidden strength within you that was not created by your own determination alone. It has quietly grown every time you chose kindness after disappointment, every time you offered forgiveness instead of bitterness, every time you whispered another prayer even when your heart felt tired, every time you continued trusting that my goodness remained true, although your circumstances had not yet reflected what you hoped to see. These moments may have appeared small to you, but they have never been small to me. Heaven often celebrates what the world overlooks. You have wondered whether your quiet obedience mattered. You have questioned whether your unseen faithfulness made any difference. I tell you with tenderness that nothing surrendered into my hands is ever wasted. Every act of love, every honest prayer, every decision to keep walking in faith has become part of the beautiful work I am accomplishing within your life. My beloved child, do not allow temporary feelings to become permanent conclusions. There are days when your heart feels weak, yet weakness is not the whole story. There are mornings when discouragement arrives before hope awakens, yet discouragement is not the author of your future. There are nights when uncertainty fills your thoughts, yet uncertainty cannot erase my faithfulness. You are learning to see beyond the first impression of every circumstance. You are learning that what appears empty may already contain unseen purpose. What appears delayed may already be perfectly held within my wisdom. What appears ordinary may quietly become the place where grace begins something extraordinary. My child, if only you could see yourself as I see you, you would notice how much courage has already grown inside you. You would notice how much gentleness has survived despite disappointment. You would notice how your heart still longs for truth even after seasons of confusion. You would notice that hope has never completely left you because my spirit continues to draw you toward life. The very fact that you still desire peace, still seek my presence, and still long to walk in love is evidence that I have never abandoned the work I began in you. So lift your eyes gently, not because every question has already been answered, but because my perspective reaches farther than your present understanding. You do not have to see every step ahead in order to trust that I am leading you. You do not have to understand every season before believing that it has meaning. Continue walking with me, my beloved child, and allow my view of your life to slowly replace the harsh judgments you have spoken over yourself. As your heart begins to rest in the truth of how deeply you are known and loved, you will also begin to recognize that what once appeared to be only loss may become the very ground where grace prepares you for blessings you could not yet imagine. My beloved child, as your heart begins to see yourself through gentler eyes, another question quietly rises within you. Why has the journey taken so long? Why have there been seasons when it seemed as though nothing was moving, even though you continued to pray, to hope, and to remain faithful as best you knew how? I know that waiting can become heavy when you cannot yet see its purpose. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and sometimes the passing of time feels louder than every answer you have been longing to hear. Yet before you allow waiting to convince you that nothing is happening, let me invite you to look beneath the surface, where the most important work often begins. Consider a seed resting beneath the soil. If someone judged its future only by what they could see above the ground, they would assume nothing was alive. They would believe the earth was empty. They would walk away without realizing that beneath the quiet surface, life had already begun. The shell was opening. Tiny roots were reaching downward before any green leaf stretched upward. What appeared still was actually filled with hidden movement. My beloved child, there have been seasons in your life that have looked very much like that hidden seed. You saw silence, but I saw preparation. You saw delay, but I saw growth. You saw emptiness, but I saw life unfolding in ways your eyes could not yet recognize. Roots always grow before branches. Strength always forms before fruit. This is not because I delight in making my children wait without reason. It is because lasting things are rarely built in haste. If the roots remain shallow, the first strong wind becomes a danger. But when they grow deep, they quietly prepare the tree to stand through seasons that have not yet arrived. In the same way, there have been moments when I was strengthening your heart long before placing new responsibilities into your hands. You may have asked for an immediate answer while I was nurturing a deeper trust that would remain with you long after the answer came. There were lessons of patience that could not be learned through comfort alone. There were gifts of compassion that quietly grew because you understood what it meant to feel unseen. There was wisdom being formed as you learned to depend upon grace instead of certainty. None of those moments were wasted. Every quiet season became part of the beautiful work of shaping your character. My beloved child, nature does not rush from winter into harvest overnight. Each season carries its own purpose. Spring awakens, summer strengthens, autumn gathers, winter allows hidden restoration. None of these seasons compete with one another. None of them are meaningless simply because they do not resemble the next. So it is with your own journey. There have been seasons of planting, seasons of waiting, seasons of learning, and seasons of quiet renewal. It is tempting to compare your calendar with someone else's, but every garden grows according to its own design. The timing of one flower does not diminish the beauty of another that blooms later. You have sometimes wondered whether waiting meant you had somehow fallen behind. Yet love does not measure your life by speed. Faithfulness is not a race against other people. Growth is not proven by how quickly circumstances change, but by how deeply your heart learns to remain anchored in hope. Even now, perhaps you are stronger than you realize. A year ago, certain disappointments might have completely overwhelmed you. Today you still feel them, but you also continue walking. You still seek peace. You still desire what is good. You still believe that love is worth choosing. These quiet signs of growth are easy to overlook because they happen gradually, yet they reveal that grace has been faithfully at work within you. My beloved child, preparation is often invisible until the moment it becomes necessary. The roots do not understand why they must keep reaching downward until the day they hold the tree steady through the storm. The seed does not understand why it remains hidden until the morning it finally breaks into the light. In much the same way, there are things being formed within your heart today that you will one day recognize with gratitude. What now feels like waiting may become the very reason you are able to receive future blessings with wisdom, humility, and peace. So do not despise this season simply because it asks for patience. Do not call it empty because it feels quiet. Continue bringing your questions before God with honesty. Continue allowing hope to breathe, even if only one gentle breath at a time. The one who created every season has not forgotten the one you are walking through now. And as you continue to trust Him day by day, you may discover that the greatest miracle of waiting is not merely that circumstances eventually change, but that your heart is slowly being transformed into a place where deeper peace, steadier faith, and lasting joy can take root long before the harvest finally appears. My beloved child, as the quiet work of waiting continues, there is another question rising beneath the surface, one that is far more important than when your circumstances will change. The deeper question is this: who are you becoming while you wait? It is easy to focus all your attention on what has not yet arrived. It is natural to wonder when the next chapter will finally begin. Yet there is a beautiful mystery that unfolds long before any visible answer appears. The greatest transformation often happens within the hidden places of the heart, where character is gently shaped one ordinary day at a time. You may not notice it because change from within rarely announces itself with great excitement. It grows quietly, almost like dawn slowly replacing the darkness without asking anyone to applaud its arrival. Think back to the person you once were. There were moments when fear immediately decided your next step. There were seasons when disappointment remained with you longer than hope. There were conversations that stayed in your mind for days because every criticism seemed to define your value. Yet today, although the journey is not complete, something within you has begun to respond differently. You pause before reacting. You seek understanding before judgment. You are learning that peace is not found by controlling every outcome, but by walking faithfully through each day with humility and trust. That change may feel small, yet it is deeply significant. Wisdom is growing where confusion once ruled. Wisdom is not simply knowing more, it is learning to recognize what truly matters. It is discovering that not every opportunity deserves your energy, not every opinion deserves your attention, and not every delay deserves your fear. Wisdom teaches the heart to distinguish between urgency and purpose. It quietly reminds you that a slower step taken in truth often carries you farther than a hurried step driven by anxiety. Alongside wisdom, resilience has also been taking root. Resilience is not pretending that life never hurts. It is not the absence of tears or questions. It is the quiet strength that rises after every difficult season and chooses to keep walking with hope instead of surrendering to despair. Every challenge you have endured has added another layer of endurance to your spirit. Every morning you chose to begin again became another reminder that grace can sustain what human strength alone cannot. You may not always feel strong, yet resilience is often most visible in those who simply refuse to stop growing despite their weariness. Patience has also been forming within you, though perhaps not in the way you expected. Patience is more than waiting for something to happen. It is allowing your heart to remain steady while time unfolds according to a wisdom greater than your own understanding. It is learning that meaningful growth cannot be rushed without losing its depth. A river shapes stone not through force but through faithful persistence. In much the same way, patience has been smoothing the sharp edges of frustration and replacing them with quiet confidence that every season has its place. Then there is compassion, one of the most beautiful gifts born from seasons of struggle. Those who have never known loneliness may overlook the lonely. Those who have never carried hidden sorrow may fail to notice another person's silent tears. But your own journey has softened your heart. You have become more attentive to those who are overlooked. You have learned to offer kindness without expecting recognition. You understand that every person carries a story hidden beneath the surface. Compassion is not weakness. It is quiet strength expressed through gentleness. It reflects a heart that has been shaped by grace rather than hardened by pain. My beloved child, these gifts are not separate from your journey. They are the very fruit that has been growing within it. The waiting has not only delayed certain things, it has also prepared you to carry them with greater humility, discernment, and gratitude when they arrive. A blessing received by an unprepared heart can easily become a burden. But a blessing received by a heart that has been formed through wisdom, resilience, patience, and compassion often becomes a source of life for many others as well. Do not overlook the quiet victories that have already taken place within you. the ability to forgive a little sooner, the courage to begin again after disappointment, the willingness to choose hope when fear seemed easier, the desire to become more faithful in ordinary moments instead of only longing for extraordinary ones. These are signs of deep transformation. They may never become headlines in the eyes of the world, but they are the kind of changes that shape a life able to walk through every season with quiet confidence. As this journey continues, allow your attention to rest not only upon what you are waiting to receive, but also upon the person you are becoming along the way. One day you may look back and realize that the greatest gift of this season was not simply what came into your life at the end of it, but the heart that quietly emerged through it, steadier than before, gentler than before, wiser than before, and ready to recognize blessings with a gratitude that only patient growth could have produced. My beloved child, after all that is quietly unfolded within your heart, perhaps you are wondering what comes next. If the waiting has shaped you, if wisdom has begun to grow, if your heart is slowly becoming steadier than before, then what should you do now? Listen carefully, because the next step is not one of striving but of surrender. You do not need to force tomorrow into your hands. You do not need to exhaust yourself trying to control every outcome. Instead, begin by releasing what has become too heavy for your soul to carry. Let go of the belief that every unanswered question must be solved before you can experience peace. Let go of the burden of comparing your journey with someone else's path. Let go of the habit of measuring your worth by how quickly life seems to change around you. These burdens were never meant to become your constant companions. They quietly drain your joy while promising you a sense of control they can never truly provide. Forgiveness is another invitation that may feel difficult, yet it opens places within the heart that bitterness can never heal. Forgiveness does not pretend that painful experiences never happened. It does not declare that wrong actions were acceptable. Instead, it is the courageous decision to stop allowing yesterday's wounds to determine tomorrow's hope. Sometimes forgiveness is offered to another person. Sometimes it must also be extended toward yourself. You have carried regrets, replayed old conversations, and judged yourself more harshly than you would ever judge someone you deeply loved. Yet grace gently reminds you that growth often includes mistakes, lessons, and new beginnings. You are invited to step forward without remaining imprisoned by what cannot be changed. Trust is another quiet step. Trust does not require that every mystery disappear before you continue walking. It is choosing to believe that God's character remains faithful even when His timing stretches beyond your expectations. Throughout Scripture, men and women of faith often walked without seeing the entire road ahead. Abraham left what was familiar before knowing every destination. Ruth continued faithfully through uncertainty before she could imagine how her story would unfold. Joseph endured long seasons of waiting before understanding how God could bring good from years of hardship. Their confidence did not rest in complete understanding, but in the one who remained faithful through every season. That same invitation still speaks today through the pages of Scripture. It is an invitation to continue walking with humility, patience, and hope, even when every answer has not yet arrived. My beloved child, surrender is often misunderstood. Many imagine surrender is giving up, but true surrender is giving over. It is placing your fears, your plans, your disappointments, and your deepest hopes into hands that are wiser than your own. Surrender is not the loss of purpose. It is the release of the exhausting need to carry everything alone. It creates room for peace to grow where anxiety once demanded control. It allows your heart to breathe again. As you continue this journey, choose simple faithfulness in ordinary moments. Speak with kindness when gentleness is difficult. Practice gratitude for small mercies that quietly appear each day. Return to prayer, not as a performance, but as an honest conversation. Spend time in the Scriptures, allowing God's promises to shape your thoughts more deeply than your fears. Encourage someone who may also be carrying an unseen burden, because compassion has a way of strengthening both the one who gives and the one who receives. These ordinary acts may seem small, yet they become pathways through which hope quietly matures. You do not need to become someone else before taking these steps. You begin exactly where you are today, bringing both your faith and your questions into God's presence. He is not surprised by either. The invitation has never been to achieve perfection before drawing near. It has always been to come honestly, to remain teachable, and to keep your heart open to His transforming grace. As you loosen your grip on fear, release old resentments, practice forgiveness, surrender what you cannot control, and place your trust in the Lord one day at a time, you may discover that the greatest decision is not simply changing your circumstances. It is allowing your inner life to be steadily shaped by the peace, wisdom, and hope that Christ offers, until those gifts become stronger than the fears that once defined your journey. My beloved child, as your heart becomes quieter and your hands begin to loosen their grip on yesterday, you may find yourself asking another gentle question. What is waiting beyond this season? It is a question every hopeful heart has whispered at some point along the journey. You long to know what tomorrow holds. You wonder whether the chapters ahead will carry more peace than the ones behind you. You wonder whether the quiet work taking place within your soul will one day become visible in the life you are living. While no one can see every detail of the future except the Father, you do not have to walk toward tomorrow without hope. Faith has never depended upon knowing every step in advance. It has always been an invitation to trust the one who walks before you. Consider the first light of morning. Long before the sun rises above the horizon, darkness slowly begins to surrender. The traveler cannot yet see the entire road, but there is enough light to take the next faithful step. That is often how grace works. It does not always reveal the whole landscape at once. Instead, it gently gives what is needed for today while quietly preparing your heart for what tomorrow may bring. My beloved child, do not believe that because you cannot yet see the full picture, nothing meaningful is unfolding. There are opportunities that begin as small moments of faithfulness. There are restored relationships that begin with one sincere conversation. There are new chapters that begin with one quiet decision to keep trusting instead of retreating into fear. Many of God's beautiful works begin so gently that they are almost unnoticed until one day you look back and realize He had been leading you all along. There may come a season when doors begin to open that once remained firmly closed. There may be conversations that bring unexpected encouragement. There may be friendships formed through ordinary circumstances that become lasting sources of strength. There may be opportunities to serve, to grow, to learn, or to bless someone else in ways you cannot yet imagine. These possibilities are not promises about specific events. They are reminders that God's faithfulness is never limited by your present view of the road ahead. Scripture repeatedly reminds us that the Lord delights in leading His children with wisdom and steadfast love. His guidance often unfolds one step at a time, inviting trust rather than certainty. As you continue walking with Him, you may discover that what once felt like an ending was quietly becoming the beginning of something new. Restoration rarely means returning everything exactly as it once was. Often it means receiving something deeper, a heart that has learned compassion after sorrow, a peace that remains even when circumstances change, a confidence rooted not in perfect control but in God's enduring character. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough is not found in changing the world around you, but in discovering that fear no longer holds the authority it once did. Sometimes the greatest miracle is waking up one ordinary morning and realizing that hope has quietly returned to places where discouragement used to live. My beloved child, do not become discouraged if tomorrow does not arrive with dramatic changes. God's work is often steady rather than sudden. The river shapes the valley through continual faithfulness. The branches become strong through many seasons of growth. The garden becomes beautiful because life continues beneath the surface long before flowers appear. In the same way, every act of obedience, every prayer offered with sincerity, every choice to forgive, every moment of quiet trust becomes part of a future that is being shaped with wisdom beyond your own understanding. Lift your eyes gently toward the horizon, not because you know exactly what is coming, but because hope allows you to walk forward with expectation instead of fear. Refuse to let old disappointments become the final lens through which you view tomorrow. Leave room in your heart for grace to surprise you in ordinary ways. Leave room for kindness you did not expect, for strength you did not know you possessed, for opportunities to love more deeply, and for moments that quietly remind you that God continues to be faithful through every season. The chapter ahead may not unfold exactly as you have imagined, Yet it can still become a place where peace grows stronger, where wisdom continues to mature, where joy quietly returns, and where the faithful presence of Christ gives you courage to welcome each new day with an open heart and a steady spirit. My beloved child, as this quiet journey draws to its close, do not leave carrying only beautiful words. Carry the truth that has gently settled within your heart. Carry the reminder that your life is not measured by your fears, your delays, or the questions that still remain unanswered. Carry the peace that grows when you remember that your story is still unfolding beneath the faithful care of God. There may still be days when uncertainty visits your thoughts. There may still be mornings when old worries attempt to return and familiar doubts knock gently at the door of your mind. When those moments come, do not be discouraged. Growth does not mean you will never struggle again. It means you no longer have to face every struggle believing that you are alone or without hope. Return again to the quiet place where your heart can remember what is true. Return to prayer with honesty. Return to the scriptures with expectation. Return to the gentle confidence that Christ remains the same yesterday, today, and forever. My beloved child, do not rush through the ordinary days searching only for extraordinary moments. Some of the greatest gifts of grace are found in simple faithfulness. A peaceful morning, a thankful heart, a kind word, a patient response, a quiet prayer whispered before the day begins, a forgiving spirit when resentment would seem easier. These small acts often become the places where the beauty of Christ is formed within you. Never underestimate what God can accomplish through a heart that continues to trust Him one faithful step at a time. As you move forward, remember that wisdom grows through listening, resilience grows through perseverance, patience grows through waiting, and compassion grows through walking gently with others who also carry hidden burdens. These are treasures that no disappointment can steal. They become part of who you are. They prepare you not only to receive blessings with gratitude, but also to become a source of encouragement wherever God leads you. My beloved child, whenever your heart becomes restless, do not allow fear to become your guide. Let truth become your guide. Whenever comparison begins to whisper, choose gratitude instead. Whenever disappointment tries to persuade you that nothing is changing, remember the seed beneath the soil, the roots growing in silence, and the dawn that begins long before the sun appears above the horizon. God's faithfulness is often working long before your eyes can recognize its quiet movement. Continue walking with humility. Continue choosing hope. Continue offering kindness, even when the world grows impatient. Continue believing that love is stronger than bitterness and that grace is greater than regret. The journey of faith is not built upon having every answer. It is built upon trusting the character of the one who remains faithful through every season. Rest your heart in that promise. Let it become an anchor when emotions rise and fall like waves upon the sea. My beloved child, may the peace of Christ guard your heart and your mind. May His wisdom gently direct your decisions. May His mercy strengthen you when you feel weak. May His joy quietly return to places where weariness once settled. May your life become a reflection of the hope you have received, bringing comfort to others who are searching for light in their own difficult seasons. And if there are days when your steps feel small, remember that faithful steps are never wasted in the hands of God. Keep walking with courage. Keep walking with gentleness. Keep walking with hope. The road ahead does not require perfect strength. It invites a willing heart that returns again and again to the grace of Christ. Let this be the truth you carry beyond this moment. Your future is not defined by your fear. Your worth is not determined by your past. Your peace does not depend upon perfect circumstances, and your hope rests securely in the faithful love of the Lord. May that hope remain with you today, tomorrow, and in every season to come, quietly reminding you that wherever the path may lead, the grace of Christ is sufficient, His promises remain trustworthy, and His peace is able to steady every heart that continues to place its trust in Him.